Number 8. KARINA CASTRO. In April of 2022, California woman KARINA CASTRO, aged 27, took out a restraining order against her boyfriend, 33-year-old Jose Rafael Solana Landeta. The man had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and took medicine, but was also reported to be a heavy drinker. According to Castro's family, he blamed his mental health condition for his abusive behavior towards the woman. Evidence indicated that in spite of the protection order, Castro continued seeing Landeta, who was the father of her 1-year-old daughter. Problems in their relationship arose once more, and on September the 11th of 2022, the pair had a heated exchange on Snapchat. Castro threatened to expose the man's criminal record, which included inappropriate contact with a minor, and he replied by calling her a snitch and threatening her. The woman claimed that if he was to put a target on her back, she'd also publicly reveal an alleged intimate relationship he'd had with another man. The following day, they had a confrontation in the street outside her San Carlos apartment, while Castro's 2 young daughters were inside. Neighbors reported that Landeta became enraged and went to his car to retrieve a samurai sword from the trunk. He then repeatedly struck the mother of his child with the blade until he decapitated her. Deputies arrived to the address within minutes to find Castro's lifeless body. As they were working the crime scene, Landeta, who'd fled to dispose of the weapon, returned to the area and was promptly arrested. He was charged with 1 felony count of murder with the use of a deadly weapon and great bodily injury enhancements. As of the latest updates on the case, the authorities were trying to determine if he was mentally fit to stand trial. Number 7. Jack Lubell. On Labor Day 2019, teenager Jack Lubell was gunned down next to a church in Fraser, just outside Memphis. 18-year-old Lubell had traveled to the area for a date with a woman he'd met on Snapchat. When he got to the address, Lubell texted his cousin to say the house looked abandoned and run down, adding if he didn't text again in 30 minutes to call the police. Residents then reported 3 or 4 shots fired, and responding officers found Lubell dead in his truck. An investigation subsequently revealed that he'd been lured to the area by 18-year-olds Talas Bonds and Erin Tillman, who'd fabricated the profile of the woman with whom Lubell had been interacting. The duo approached his truck and tried to rob him. Lubell, a high school football player, tried to fight back, at which point one of the men shot him, then took his wallet. As later reported by the victim's father, he worked for FedEx and usually had under $100 on him. Tillman and Bonds had successfully used the Snapchat catfishing scheme to rob another man before killing Lubell. The teens, who'd also robbed 2 pizza delivery drivers in the Fraser area, were subsequently indicted on first-degree murder charges. Number 6. Stephanie Marie Moore. In September of 2015, Florida woman Stephanie Marie Moore was arrested by the authorities in Melbourne in connection to riding a sea turtle. The police had responded to an unrelated disturbance, whereupon they identified 20-year-old Moore as having an active felony warrant and took her into custody. In early July of 2015, photos of her and another unidentified woman showed them striding a sea turtle on a beach. The endangered marine animals typically come to shore to lay eggs in the summer, and experts noted that sitting on them could impede or stop them. The images were first sent on Snapchat before being widely circulated on Twitter and Facebook, sparking outrage. Multiple complaints were forwarded to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, who handled the criminal investigation. Molesting a sea turtle is a felony, and Moore faced up to 5 years in prison, in addition to fines of over $7,000. Number 5. Angela WRIGHTSON. In April of 2016, a pair of female teenagers were jailed for life at Leeds Crown Court in England for the brutal murder of a 39-year-old woman. In December of 2016, Angela WRIGHTSON was found bludgeoned to death in the living room of her home in Hartlepool, County Durham, England. WRIGHTSON suffered from alcoholism and had agreed to buy drinks for the 2 unnamed teens. CCTV captured the woman making the purchase at a local store. WRIGHTSON then invited the duo to her home, where they all continued drinking, but not long afterwards, the teens viciously attacked her. They posted selfies on Snapchat at around 9 p.m. that showed them smiling, with the older woman in the background bearing facial injuries. WRIGHTSON's health problems, coupled with her 5'4" frame and weight of less than 100 pounds made her powerless to oppose the duo's onslaught, which unfolded over the course of several hours. They struck her with a shovel, a screw-studded stick, a coffee table, and even her own TV set. All of the objects were later found with blood splatter on them. After abandoning WRIGHTSON on her couch, either unconscious or dead, the teens called the police to get a lift home. In another Snapchat photo taken inside the cruiser, the younger teen indicated that she and her friend were again in the back of a law enforcement vehicle. WRIGHTSON's landlord found her body, which had sustained 103 injuries, 80 of which were to the head. The teens were eventually arrested, and the police also found a crude drawing done by one of them that possibly showed the murder. The duo were dubbed the Snapchat Killers by the media. During the trial that followed, a decision was made to fully maintain their anonymity due to their vulnerable state. The older defendant had tried to take her life 4 times in custody, including once in the courtroom when she suddenly and violently attacked herself with her own hair. Her friend had also exhibited self-harming tendencies. In 2016, they were jailed for a minimum of 15 years each. Number 4. Eric Cavazos. 18-year-old fugitive Eric Cavazos was arrested in Tulsa, Oklahoma in August of 2016 for a shooting that had left another 18-year-old dead. The incident took place in San Antonio, Texas. On August the 7th, Cavazos had planned a drug deal on Snapchat with 3 other teens, and they met up in the 6500 block of Tahoka Boulevard. The transaction went wrong, at which point Cavazos opened fire on the trio, killing Joseph Rene Macias and critically injuring his companions. He then fled on foot but was soon identified by the police. A manhunt ensued when the authorities learned that he'd left Texas for Tulsa. Cavazos was on his way to Los Angeles via Greyhound bus when the U.S. Marshals Service rushed in and arrested him. He was reported as uncooperative, and officials had to use a taser on him in order to take him into custody. Cavazos was subsequently charged with murder and booked at Tulsa County Jail while awaiting extradition to Texas. Number 3. William Underwood. Florida teenager William Underwood was arrested and charged with murder after investigators came upon a Snapchat video he'd posted from a crime scene in Harris County. On July the 16th of 2019, Underwood had met 19-year-old Ryan Bates, with whom he'd previously talked on Snapchat about buying illicit substances from him. The former got into Bates's car and, as he later told the authorities, saw a taser in the cup holder. Underwood claimed that he thought the other teenager would reach for the weapon and attempt to rob him when he pulled out his money. Underwood grabbed the taser and shocked Bates multiple times. He then brandished a pistol he'd concealed in his waistband and fatally shot the dealer 3 times. As reported by the prosecution in the aftermath, Underwood went to his sister's apartment, changed his clothes, and got on Snapchat in the hopes of creating an alibi. He filmed himself driving past the crime scene as officers were examining it in the background. Underwood was arrested and, according to the latest information available on his case, had pleaded not guilty to the murder charge and maintained that he had acted in self-defense. Today's topic was requested by Kevin King, Campbell Soups Gaming, Chicago Baddie Williams, and Mystic X. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comment section below. Number 2. Elias Otero. In January of 2022, New Mexico authorities took teenager Annabella Jukes into custody from a murder that had resulted from a Snapchat conversation and a botched robbery. The 18-year-old had been talking to teenager Nicholas Otero on the platform and made plans for a rendezvous on February the 11th of 2021. Nicholas met Jukes late at night and drove her to Alvarado Park in Albuquerque in his red Lexus. On the way, she reportedly asked him where he kept his money or if he had a weapon in the car. Nicholas's suspicions began to mount when he saw Jukes discreetly call someone on her cell phone so that they could listen in on their conversation. The person on the other end was her boyfriend, Adrian Avila, with whom Jukes had planned to rob Nicholas. At the park, he and several accomplices drove up to the latter's Lexus, dragged him out at gunpoint, and took control of the vehicle. They then drove the man to the address of his older brother, 24-year-old Elias, and threatened to kill him If he didn't pay them, Elias, a former corrections officer, emerged from the residence with a firearm, threatening to shoot. Avila then opened fire on the man, shooting him dead in the street. Before he and his accomplices fled, Nicholas was able to escape in the confusion and went to the police. A manhunt was launched for Jukes and Avila, who eventually turned themselves in to face multiple charges that included murder, armed robbery, and conspiracy. Number 1. Keris Reeve. Scottish teenager Keris Reeve fell ill during a sleepover at a friend's house in Greenock, Inverclyde, on July the 13th of 2020. Friends reported that she'd begun acting really weird after taking an illegal substance. She was unable to control her movements, was seen kicking items off a ledge, and began talking to herself before having a seizure. Reeve was rushed to a local hospital where staff described her as rigid all over. She was put on a ventilator and eventually passed away, with the cause listed as MDMA toxicity. 18-year-old James McCain was jailed for 7 years in August of 2022 after it emerged that he'd supplied the drugs which killed the teenager. He'd been advertising the distribution of the Class A substance on Snapchat, stating, "Mandy for sale. Good prices. Get Snapchatting." Reeve got in contact with him at 2:52 a.m. on July the 13th and then went to his house to buy the drugs for £10. Upon returning to the sleepover, she mixed the powder into a glass of orange juice before consuming it. McCain stopped advertising the illicit substance once news of Reeve's passing spread. He was arrested and found guilty of culpable homicide following a trial at the High Court in Glasgow. McCain was also found guilty of supplying drugs to other young people in the town between November of 2019 and July of 2020. Thanks for watching. Would you rather lose the ability to be anonymous on the internet or audited monthly? Let us know in the comments section below.